Hey guys, and welcome back to Regretsit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, it seems that the nurses have voted to go on strike. For the first time in their 100 and whatever year history, the nurses have voted to go on strike. And what do you expect, right? When I think the government has offered them something like 4.7%. 4.7%, right? What should we call it? Should we call it 5% or 4%? But anyway, it's around, after tax, it's around an extra £5 a day. So at this stage, we always ask, what should they do with the extra £5 a day, right? And me, I always say, well, what we should do is, if it was me, right, I would just buy myself, right, 4 bags of Swizzles, 2 yellow, 2 red, right, and 10 chomp bars. I hope they're still 10p, right? Because this is what these people are, right? What we think of them. We just think they're chomps. Remember, like when we was out, right, drawing them rainbows and all sorts of different nonsense. I saw one guy, he was out, right, and he had a symbol. Right, a symbol, and he had a drumstick, and he was tapping the symbol away, tapping the symbol away, right? But then when it comes down to it, right, if you hear the viciousness from the people of this country, when the nurses say, no, listen, you know what, right, we need 5% above inflation, so 17% is what we really need, right? And the government's and the amount of people in this country say, where they go, where they get the money from, where they get, right? And say, well, you know something, right? Remember the £37 billion these people stole, right? There's where they could have got the money from, right? These people, right? Remember a few years ago with the new computer system that completely failed, right? Billions of pounds wasted, right? Billions of pounds wasted on PPE money, right? But when it comes down to paying the people who are our real angels, our modern day angels, oh no, fuck them, they can't get no money. What do they want extra for? What the hell do they think this is? Yeah, but we expect, you know what? We're going to even charge you to park your car outside where you work. We're going to charge you for that shit. We're going to put it in the hands of a private company and they can charge you. Right? They pay congestion charge, right? They pay ULEZ, right? We've taken away their bursary, right? And then they're wondering, right? And then these people are talking, oh, well, it's all about fucking wages. It's not all about wages. A lot of it's about wages. But, you've got the nurses doing 12, 14-hour shifts. Right, and a couple of those hours will certainly be for free, right? What they're doing to the nurses, right? Because they know that they can take the absolute piss out of the nurses because they know, right? It's a calling, that job, right? No one just wakes up one morning and thinks, I want to be a nurse. Right? They might wake up when they're about 6 or 7 years old and think that, right? But they don't wake up one morning, in their 20s or their 30s and think, oh, I'm going to be a nurse. No, it's a calling. Right, so that's why they know that they can take the absolute piss out of all of these people, and they do it so well. Right, that's why they could just take away their bursaries, and now, right, they've 47,000 nurses short in the NHS. 47,000. Right, you've got billions of pounds every year, right, being paid out to temporary staff, right, and obviously, right, the people who run those agencies, trust me, right, they'll be all old school. They'll be like there's some lords and some ladies and some sirs who actually run, right, those employment agencies, right, who have got those links, right, to get nurses in, right, because it's 3 times the amount to have a temporary nurse or a temporary doctor in there. It's 3 times the amount, right? So obviously, you get much more money that way. But the NHS, we've been paying out billions of pounds like that for years and years and years. Billions of pounds like that for years, right? And and that's the reason why this whole shit's in trouble, right? Is because there's a bashful wastage of money, right? But none of that wastage goes to the nurses or to the staff. None of that money goes to them, and that's why they're now coming out in strike. But it's not only them, because now you're talking about the unions are saying, we're going to coordinate some shit, so we're going to hit them much harder now. Right? So so they're going to get together with the tube, with the rail, with the underground workers, with the post workers, even people like your driving instructors, right? So then you have your benefit staff and all these type of people. They're going to coordinate the strikes now, because the government is not playing ball with them, right? When it comes down to it, you look at how they live as opposed to how we live, right? And there's a vast difference, because none of them, right, have got any problems in paying any of these new high, gas and electric bills, right? Or they don't business about paying over £10 for a gallon of fuel, right? A lot of them would have tucked themselves up with some nice new electric cars, right? While the nurses, right, are having to go to food banks, right? And then you've got people like Gillian Keegan with her cheeky self will turn around to the nurses and say, well, they're only going to the food banks, right, when their when their boiler breaks down, or they need a new tire for their car or something like that. That's the time they're going to. They shouldn't be going to the food banks anyway. And furthermore, right, when you're speaking down to people with a 10 grand Rolex on your wrist, and you're telling the nurses who are having to go to food banks, right, what Gillian Keegan should be doing is shutting her mouth, right, with her 10 grand Rolex on her wrist. I don't business about people wearing 10 grand Rolex, but not politicians. Not politicians, right? When people are struggling, going through a real crisis, right? Can't heat their homes, right? And you've got a politician with a 10 grand Rolex on her wrist, right? Who can turn around and say, you know what? Shut up and just eat gruel, you fucking peasant. Because that's what Gillian Keegan's really saying to them. But I just ask you people, what was you expecting putting people like that in charge? People who look down on you like you're absolute crap, like you're something that they've stepped in, right? So they have to throw the shoes away. They're not even going to wash the shoes off, throw it away, because they've stepped in you. And welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me. And a special thanks to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go for all your messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. And it seems that Russia, right, have they've like retreated out of a town in Ukraine, Kherson. They've seems like they've got just picked up their troops and said, you know what, we're out of here, and I've seen the retreat. I mean, it does look, but you can't really trust what the Russians would do. Do you know what I mean? Because 1 minute the Russians say yes, we're retreating, and the next thing, as they're saying that, they've left a load of mines there and all those things, and then when people start moving back in there, they start bombing it again, like they've been doing in all the civilian areas. So so we just have to see. Hopefully, this might be a withdrawal, and it might be the start, it might be the beginning of the end. Hopefully, you never know, because obviously, I'm quite sure that 9 months in, right, and Russia just having to give back, one of the only capitals they've taken in the Ukraine, right. I could see that there must be thinking to themselves, well, we haven't really done too well here, and I think they've lost around 200,000 soldiers as well. So it's a really, really, savage situation. But as I say, Putin's there in his bunker, just not caring about life at all. Just not caring about people's life at all. Don't know if you saw what happened in Belgium. There was like some type of terrorist attack, and a policeman was stabbed to death by the assailant. I think that he got shot, and I think that the assailant died in hospital. I haven't heard much else about it. I've just heard about this policeman, so I don't know what kind of terrorist attack it was, whether or not he tried a terrorist attack and there was a policeman at the scene, or whether this police officer was off duty. But I'm sure Belgian police officers carry guns, don't they? So he must have, this police officer must have been taken, by surprise somehow, because obviously someone with a knife. Police officers are not going to go and approach someone with a knife without drawing out their gun. So he must have somehow taken him by surprise. And we move on to America, because people are calling Donald Trump the biggest loser, right, after the midterm elections, right? And I'll tell you this, right, Donald Trump is so thin. This man, right, his skin is paper thin. Right? I'm talking thin paper, right? So this must be really burning him. And then the fact that like Ron DeSantimonious, I don't even know where these people get these people to vote from, right? To vote for, right? It just seems that the Republicans always want us they just want to seem to go for the most racist, ignorant arses they can find all the time, right? Because it looks like, to be honest, it looks like Trump's reign is over, especially after the midterms, because so much of the candidates that he was putting up, really just got battered by double. A lot of them got beaten by double figures, right? So obviously, a lot of the, there's so much people that are Trump supporters saying, well, he's the biggest loser, and as I said, that's not going to go down really well with Trump. But I think that, right, when you've got like the head lion and it's wounded, right, and all the other lions, all the other little smaller lions, they sense, right, they sense blood, so they all start taking a little jab, and that's what's happening with Trump, right? Because people have rejected the MAGA, the MAGA politics. People have rejected it, and they rejected it really, in massive numbers, because the Republicans were supposed to take, they were supposed to take 30, 40, maybe 50 seats away from the Democrats. That's what they were supposed to do, and that's what that's what they was hinting at. The red wave is what they was hinting at, and nothing like that happened. So they've all turned. So they're all literally turning on Donald Trump now, and much more support is going over to Ron DeSantis. But as I say, right, I don't understand why it is, right, that the Republicans can't go for someone who says, I want to bring everyone in America together, because Ron DeSantis, he believes, obviously, he's exceptionally homophobic, because he believes that you mustn't say gay, right? Now I'll tell you this, right, what if Ron DeSantis was to become the president, which would just be a very terrible thing for America, but if he was to become the president, right, watch how fast, right, all of these fucking arses run over there to go and meet him. Or when he comes here, right, they give him a fucking they give him a fucking gold carriage and all that. Watch, right? But what they're talking about Qatar. This man is in, right, modern society, right. I don't look at Qatar, right, as being a modern society, not like how Britain and America are. Right? And not those people. They're more medieval. That's where their vibes more come from. Okay. So when you have politicians in this country or in America preaching, oh, don't say gay, what the fuck is that about? Right? And then you've got people, because I see something from Florida just a little while ago, and you've got people in Florida open to that, well, marriage is between a man and a woman. Say, well, something, try and move into the fucking 20th century. Just try moving into there. Right, but now you've got people openly saying that, but yet for all in Qatar they say, oh no, right, people should wear, they should be wearing wearing like rainbow laces, right, wearing, kicking a rainbow football, right? Go to Qatar and tell them, right, well, you're wrong, right? We can come and tell you what we can and can't do, right? When you've got like, one of the delegates from Qatar saying, oh, well, being gay is damaging to the mind, right? What's the difference between him saying that and Ron DeSantis saying, well, you can't say gay? No, you can't say it because people ain't gay. What kind of fucking bullshit is that? It's just a lot of bullshit. It's just rubbish, right? The brown guy, the brown guys, right? Oh no, oh, look at them, right? They hate the fucking gays, so we must really hate on them. Ron DeSantis would get a fucking gold carriage. What kind of bullshit is that? It's just a lot of bollocks. But anyway, Donald Trump is really pissed because he's being called the biggest loser, and that must be really burning him. Really, and apparently he voted for Ron DeSantis too. I've noticed here that Keir Starmer back in the UK. I noticed that Keir Starmer started pushing some right wing, because with the thing with the right wing, no matter where they are, right? If it's the right wing of, and look, the right wing of Labour have always been the fucking arseholes. They've always been the people, right, that they can never compromise with the left. We have to always compromise with them. That's how they get into power, right? And if you notice, right, when you get a left wing leader, they join in with the right wing, the right wing of the Labour Party. They join in with the far right or the right wing of the Tories to try and get the left wing Labour leader out. They do it all the time. But if you notice, right, when it comes down to it, right, once the left will always get behind the Labour leader, right, even if they're proven to be a right wing arse like Keir Starmer, right, they'll still get behind, like like when the left wing got behind Tony Blair, right, but the right wing of the Labour Party would never get behind Michael Foot. They would never get behind Jeremy Corbyn. No way. But they expect us from the left to always get in behind them. And if you notice, it's always, oh look, they're always starting. But the people who really are the real problem is the right wing, right? And that's why Keir Starmer, right, did force them the other week to sing the national anthem, right? If you don't want to sing the national anthem, you shouldn't have to be forced to sing it, right? That doesn't mean, right, because I don't sing the national anthem, right, simply because I don't sing a song to a person. That person's not better than me. I don't give a fuck who they are. Right? I'm not singing a song praising a person unless I choose to, and I choose not to. Okay, you want to change it. You want to change it over to Jerusalem. Is Jerusalem okay? Yeah. So long as it's not one of them ones where they mention fucking about slavery and all these type of things, right? Then that's fine, right? But don't expect me, right, to be singing a national anthem to a person. I don't go down like that. You might, because you're a sad individual, and that's how I look at you. But that's just me. You might look at me as a sad individual for not doing it. But I don't give a shit. That's the truth. I don't. Matt Hancock has gone down like a lead balloon inside the jungle. At first, but then, Matt Hancock's just been smashing it with the stars and that, and I'm sure that he's actually turning people around because people are seeing, the real Matt Hancock. But you've always got to remember in the back of your mind, that this motherfucker was in charge when hundreds of thousands of people died, right, after he done put all these people back into fucking hospitals or into the old people's homes who had COVID. Right, and killed off a whole heap of them, and then the next thing, right, he's on TV crying when they got the vaccine, and then the next thing he's got his hands all over a girl's backside. While, right, we was in times of social distancing, and he didn't have his hands all over his backside from 2 meters away. Was it 2 meters or two? Whatever it was, whatever the social distancing was, unless he was an octopus. Right? He was too close, and we've got poppy shaming coming out again. Like because obviously, like you got all these people now. Oh well, you must wear a poppy. And like, well, there's another thing, right? I look at the poppy and say, well, the poppy, right, should only be there to symbol, right, the one war. Shouldn't be there to symbol anything else. Symbolise the one war, right, where the poppies grow out the fields just after the battle or whatever, right? That's the only one it should be there, and the poppy should be there for all of the fallen, right? Not the Nazis, but the German soldiers should be included, right? But when it comes down to we had Americans, we had all the coalition forces, but the poppy, English, just for the English, right? Well, we've got a purple poppy, right? That's for all the fallen animals. The purple poppy, right, and then you've got the white poppy, right, and the white poppy symbolises peace, and that's the one Jeremy Corbyn's wearing. They're like, look at him, he's got no respect at all. He's wearing a bloody white poppy because all he wants is peace. Who the fuck does he think he is? He got in real problems for that, wearing the white poppy. But we've got a lot of poppy shaming going on. People, if you go on the TV and you don't wear your poppy, my God, they go off on you. Right, and I would go straight on there with no poppy. Right, I'd wear the white one. So okay, well, if you want me to wear a poppy, I'll wear the white one, or the purple one, right? Right. But if you're gonna use the poppy for all different conflicts, conflicts that I don't agree with, then I just have to say to you, no. Right, I'm not going to wear the poppy, and you can try and shame me as much as you want, and I will say I will send you a good old-fashioned British gesture. The UK economy has shrunk by 0.2%, and that puts us closer to a recession, right? And I've just seen the Chancellor talking and saying, well, we've got Germany and all these countries who are going through a very tough. I say, shut up, you fucking arse, you fucking dick, right? This is the thing with these people. Right, when you're talking about our inflation, then you want to talk about other countries, and you want to mention places like Germany. When I can go to Germany, I can get a ticket, right, for a whole year for £588 that can take me on bus, trams, and trains for a year anywhere in the country, right? When I can do that type of shit, right? Don't start talking about other countries and how things are going for them, because just imagine, right? If we, like the Americans are paying under $4 for a gallon of fuel, and they're still complaining. They're actually complaining about paying under $4 for a gallon of fuel. They're complaining. I say them motherfuckers want to come over here, right? Because we're paying over £10, right? So they want to come over here, right? That for me. If ours went to £4 for a gallon, right, that would save me what, an extra £150, £200 a week I could have in my pocket, right? For something that they know, right, that there's no way they should be charging us the price what they're charging, right? And then that's what I'm saying. When these people talk, when I hear them talking, I think to myself, something. What are you talking about other countries for? What are you talking about other countries for, right? We're the only G7 country, right, whose economy is shrinking. The only G7 country whose economy is actually shrinking, right? I think the only people worse whose economy is shrinking worse than ours is Russia, and we all know what's going on there. We've got sanctions against them. What has happened in this? Oh, I'll tell you what's happened in this country. We've taken out sanctions upon ourselves. We took sanctions out upon ourselves. Only a fool, right, could take sanctions out upon themselves, right? That's like when you hear about someone who was messing about with a gun, cleaning it, and ended up shooting themselves in the face. I think one of the guys from the Oath Keepers lost an eye like that, isn't it? One who's in court at the moment. He lost an eye like that. But that's what that's like. Right? Taking out sanctions upon yourself. You're always going to be that person who's cleaning a gun, right, and ends up shooting yourself in the face. Because that's how stupid you are. Because that could only happen to a stupid person. Right? Like when the guy from E17 got run over by his own car. There's just him and the car there. And somehow he gets run over by his own car. I bet he voted Brexit. I bet you. Kwarteng says he warned Liz Truss, not to move so fast with her plans. And I guarantee people say, "You black bastard, shut up." I bet that's what people are saying, right? Because you think to yourself, hold on a minute. Well, you should have said to her, "Well, listen, Prime Minister, I'm not putting this through. Okay, so if you want, then you have to get rid of me, or I will resign. It's up to you. But I'm not putting this through because this is going to give us no time at all in Downing Street." She said, "Well, look," she said to him, "because look, I've only got 2 years," and he said to her, "Listen, if you do this, you're gonna have 2 months." And she's got 6 weeks. Right? So he was bang on the money with that. But he should have said to her, "No, not doing it." And the stupid fool went ahead. Because he's a fool. And that's why he went ahead. Food banks are begging the government for help. Because, they're getting 20% extra customers a week. Right? Like the one, the most highly funded one, and this is speaking, is the Trussell Trust. And they're the ones who are saying, "Listen, we need help here. We cannot keep up with the demand. This is a real problem. It's really urgent." So food banks, imagine that food banks are in real problems. And, the guy from I heard the guy from the Trussell Trust say, "Oh, well, one of the supermarkets had phoned him and said to him, like, can we have your charity number? I said, why? Oh, yeah, because we need to write this off on our, you know. So even the food that the supermarkets are giving to them, they're just writing off on the. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, and that's literally, most of it is literally food that they're going to throw away because it's probably going to be short dated and all that type of stuff. And then you've got a lot of people who leave food in the baskets, isn't it? So I don't know if it's that. I don't know if they're claiming back on that as well, all that food that they're giving as well. Do you know what I mean? Because there would be something wrong in that you know, people are leaving food in the baskets, and then the supermarkets themselves are asking. But you see, what's happened with their utility costs, and their real problems because their utility cost has gone up by over 1,000%. They said that they was paying, like, I think they was paying something like £69 a month, right? And then it went up like 10 times or something like that. So they saying, listen, it's gone up by about 1,000%, their fuel cost, right? And then you've got the food cost that they have to buy in has gone up by over 100%. So that's why the food banks are in real problems. And obviously they've got much more people coming in now. But anyway, I think we should start speaking about some Brexit because I'm already late over time. Right? So you've got a lot of top end restaurants, right, have actually had to double their prices since Brexit. But we don't really care about that because our top end restaurants, right, are McDonald's, to KFC, Burger King, Pizza Hut, Pizza Go Go. And I'm sure there's many others, all like kebabs and all those, you know, obviously the Chinese and that, and then you know, obviously you have the we say the Indian restaurants, but a lot of them would be like, you know, they could be like Sri Lankan, Pakistani, Malaysian, you know, you know what I mean? So, but most people say we're going to the Indian restaurant. But yeah, so those are our type of restaurants, and even our prices have gone sky high in our type of restaurants. So imagine what they're like in all those high class restaurants. Rishi Sunak has refused to admit that Brexit has damaged the UK's trade. And say, you know what, when these people are just prepared to lie, what's the fucking point? What is the point? What's the point in even talking when these people are just prepared to say, you know what, no, nothing to do with Brexit. Why our economy is in such a shit, crap place. Not to do with Brexit. Cool, stop. The UK have joined the EU military mobility, right? And obviously that's you know, that's the biggest thing that they've joined from since they've left the EU, and it was all done on the quiet. It's like, you know, it's like a joining of military forces. Well, it's basically probably to get military equipment to give military equipment freedom of movement, right? And more than likely, one of the only reasons that we was actually let into this, right, is because of the war in Ukraine. Right? If it wasn't that, they'd probably just be like, no. I'm telling you, because I reckon it's more than likely down to the war in Ukraine why they've said to us, yeah, you can come in. We'll allow you to come into this part of our EU project. But I'm quite sure if they put it to the people of this country, all the Brexiters would have been going like, no, we don't want freedom of movement, not for our military equipment, no. And Lord Wolfson, who was a staunch supporter of Brexit, one of the most staunch supporters of Brexit, and I look at these people, you know, he's the head of Next, right? And I look at these people and I think to myself, you're an absolute fucking klutz, you're an idiot, you're an arse, you're a fucking dummy, you fucking fool. Right? How the hell could you have voted for Brexit running such a big motherfucking company, right? When you heard all of what people were saying, all of the Project Fair bullshit you heard it all, right? And you know what? I tell you what's really annoying, right? Is when people will say, "Oh well, you know, there was lies on both sides." On both sides? No, there wasn't. There was lies on one side. One side there was lies, right? And that was the Brexit side. Because when people was talking about and telling, listen, you know, you're gonna have a real problem getting like, you know, members of staff, because you know a lot of these people are European. They come via the EU. That's why they're here. So you're gonna have a lot of problems getting people out. Oh no, that's all Project Fair. It's rubbish. What about all the red tape you're putting in front of your businesses? Well, now Lord Wolfson, he can't get people to man his fucking stores. He's having a real problem getting warehouse staff, right? And he's talking about, oh, well, you know, we've got all this food rotting in the fields, right? And we've got people lining up, right? right, waiting to come over to pick this fruit. But this man's as fucking stupid as they come. He's thick. He's an idiot. And I'll tell you why. Because a pound is worth nothing, right? And the great scheme of things, right? What? And you think people aren't watching this country from abroad and thinking, you know something? I ain't going to that fucking racist fucking motherfucking shithole to go and work in the fucking pouring motherfucking rain, right? For a weakened pound, only to be racially abused by the locals. Piss off. Give me a fucking break, right? People like Lord Wolfson, these type of people make me fucking sick. They get on my fucking nerves, right? Because you know something, yeah? You should have known, right? How the hell have you got yourself to a position where you are a lord and you are the head of Next, right? And you, right, have got no fucking sense at all. You have got not one bit of sense, right? But this is not the Brexit I vote. What fucking Brexit did you vote for? What did you think? What was you thinking when you voted for Brexit? What did you think? You think, oh, well, I'm going to get... What do you think you was going to get? A unicorn? Just, you know, these things, seriously, these people are just really annoying because the whole point is, right, is that we can never, ever get back our status to where we was. Never, ever. Right, we're going to the single market and we'll just be described as a whipping boy. Not that we're just a whipping, we're a whipping boy right now. But if we're going to the single market or into the customs union, right, then you know what? It's just we have to follow the rules. It's not as if to say we don't have to follow the rules now, because we do. Right, so being outside, right, and having to follow the rules makes us look stupid. That's what it does. Makes you look like a fool. Like when you turn up to the concert, right, and you haven't got a ticket. Your friends have, but you haven't. Because you thought that you might be able to pay on the door, or there might be someone outside with a ticket. But no. And you drove them there, and now you've got to wait outside for 4 hours for them to come out all sweaty and get back into the car and tell you how good the motherfucking concert was. And then fall asleep while you drive them home. You're just a chauffeur. Anyway, guys, look, I'm like 12 minutes over, but I didn't do a video yesterday. So, and this is the weekend. So, it looks like quite a pleasant one as well. There's no bonfire. I think there's probably going to be a lot of bonfires out this week because last week was a wet one, innit? So, my friends, I bid you all to have a fantastic weekend. And I'm out of here. This, my friends, is by any means necessary. I'm the MC John Ribs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.